I think that human beings are fascinating in that you just never know what a human being would do. It just is mind-blowing what we as human beings can do, and you just never know. And to me, that's fascinating in that what causes human beings, we can sink so low and do things that we never imagined that we would do, or we could do crazy things along the way and not know that they're crazy. We could say crazy things and not know that they're crazy. Isn't that like mind-blowing? We can be mean to one another. I read some of the comments on YouTube about our TV show or whatever, and the folks that don't like me, they say some of the nastiest, meanest things that, you know, and you wouldn't think that a human being would be that dirty and cold, because like we are human beings, you know, we're not like animals. I know, I believe there are some animals out there that treat one another better than human beings treat one another, some human beings. And I noticed that the people who are criticizing, they never offer any suggestions that are good. They don't say you're wrong, here is the right way, or the way I think is right, maybe this can help you, right? All they do is attack with nothing. And I'm thinking, how can you be a human being and be that way? Another thing I think is interesting about human beings, in some cases, it has to be extreme. You can not like one another and don't speak during the week, and then you can have a party and everybody show up at the party. And everybody party and have a good time and get drunk and get down, right? But then Monday, you're not even speaking anymore. Isn't that like amazing? Or it's just, human beings are something else. I think I'm so fascinated by human beings nowadays. Second to seeking the Father His right way. A person can like you right now and you say something to them that they don't like, they change just like that on you. Isn't that amazing? And then how we can dress up and act like everything's fine, but it's not really fine. Isn't that amazing, G?
Yep.
It's just so amazing to me. Just think in your own life, as I've always think about my life, some of the things I've done over my past life, it's amazing that I did some of those things. It doesn't make sense. Where was I, And how come I didn't know it was wrong enough not to do it? Yes, sir.
I think what it is, at least from my perspective, when I'm insulted or, someone comes against me for whatever reason, then it's time for war. And when the war is over, then we start thinking of, rebuilding a relationship or peace or whatever. But it's like you get into a war mentality because you become very defensive. They're attacking you, so you attack back. And relationships are kind of like that, I believe.
But still, I see things that when you're not, I see human beings doing certain things when they're not even at war. The things they say and the way they think and all that. And we're like created in the image of God. We have His image. We have His nature. And the last time I looked, He's pretty bright. And so I'm wondering, why aren't we as bright as He is?
Some people, and I've been there, have, they have a, like, how the police, they can be nice and then 1 minute and then go after the criminal with, the type of aggressiveness you want to go after them. But after a while, if you've been in a war zone for a while, you become hardened. You don't really have a center of love, so you become hardened. And I think there's certain people who've been under assault and who've been assaulting back and forth at war, so to speak, continually throughout their lives, and so they're more hardened.
Interesting. I'm loving it, though. I don't mind what I see, in observing human nature. I don't mind what I see. I just think it's so fascinating. I got a call from someone who was sitting and this is a grown adult. And this person liked me a lot, and I like them a lot, so it's not a negative. It just is amazing. they sitting in a cafe in another state, and they are sitting there with a bunch of friends, and apparently somebody sitting in the cafe at another table, and they all sitting at this table saying, "Oh, that looked like Jesse. That person looked like Jesse." And the person said, "Oh, let me get Jesse on the phone so he can talk to this stranger and say, you look like me." I'm like, wow, that's so fascinating. I would never think to do that. I would never think to be sitting in a cafe and I see somebody that look like Mark. I don't know the person, never heard of the person, but I'm going to call California and get Mark on the phone so Mark can talk to the stranger. Isn't that like fascinating? That's amazing to me. And this person doesn't mean any harm. They like me, they, all that. And I like them, and they're good people. But I'm thinking, wow, it's amazing that the mind can work that way. Don't you think that's amazing, Brenda? Would you ever think to call Ed? You're sitting out there with your girlfriend at a cafe in New Orleans. Ed is in California. A white man sitting over there looking like Ed. Like, "Ed, call me back. I want you to talk to this stranger so I can tell him you look like him."
No, I would never do that. I might take a picture and show it to
Yeah.
Ed and say, "Hey,
Right.
this guy looked like you," but I wouldn't think Ed would want to talk to him.
I would never even think to do that. What would I say to the stranger on the phone? "Hey, I hear you look like me." But that kind of stuff is exciting, don't you think?
I've heard when you began the process of meditation that a lot of your past memories will come to review, and that you review them with a different light because you're changing and you're now looking to be still, and you look at some of the things that you've done, and now you look at them from a different perspective. You let's say, for example, me, you are a little bit like saddened. Hey, I remember I said these things or acted this way towards this person, and I was really mean. I can't believe that was me. Did you recommend that at that point, when these memories come, that you call the person up or just let it be, let experience that little feeling of regret or amaze, whatever it may be, and just let it go? Or do you think that because Jesus said, if you offend somebody, go to him and apologize or set yourself straight with him before you go back to.
That's a good question.
So I just wondered if what your take on that is.
When I reflect, it's only to allow me to appreciate the fact that God was with me and He's brought me through all that stuff, and I don't know how. It made me realize He had to be with me to bring me through it, to allow me to overcome it, and so that just caused me to appreciate Him more. But yes, if you have offended someone and you're wrong, of course, if you can. But most of the time, reflection is just to appreciate the Father and what He has done for you. But the devil's busy too, and he'll try to make you think, "Oh, look what you did to this person. You need to apologize." Then no, don't do it that way. But it's a good question. You owe someone an apology?
I'm just thinking because every now and then I do have memories like that, and again, I'm different. I am now than I was, 5-10 years ago.
Right.
And I said, wow, I remember specifically intentionally want to hurt somebody who was just really an innocent bystander or was really just a friend towards me, and I feel bad. I feel a little sorrow there that I feel, and so I was wondering, it's a good idea. Something like that. So I've done it when I've called them and say, hey, I just want to apologize for something that I did a year ago or 5 years ago or what have you.
Yeah,
I
there's
just thought
nothing
about
wrong
it.
with that. If you could do that, of course.
Okay.
But be careful the source that's telling you to do that. Because Satan has always presented himself as God, too.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so be careful with that. I remember the first girl I dated, and it was in high school. And I hadn't talked to her in 30 years. And so somebody made it possible where I can talk to her on the phone. And she was my very first girlfriend. I think I was like 15, 16 years old. And the very first, I'm like, hey, how you doing? And the very first thing she said to me, you cheated on me. I'm like, I cheated on you? How you remember I cheated on you 30 years ago? Who did I cheat with? You cheated on me. I remember you cheating. So all these years she's married, had a bucket load of kids, and she remember I cheated. And so I said, you know what? I don't remember. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. You know, isn't that amazing to remember something like that for 30 years or more?
No.
How can you remember somebody cheated when you were 15? And how do you cheat at 15? Jeremiah, you ever cheated on your girlfriend?
No,
Why not?
I don't have a girlfriend.
That's what I wanted to hear. That's why I asked why not. Yes.
To me, it's not amazing to remember something 15 years ago. I mean, particularly if it was, traumatic to you or to that person.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was traumatic, and they didn't let it go. Yes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I was the other day. I got home and then I was sitting, just looking at my phone like this, and then I started going into thinking about something me and my ex-girlfriend went through,
Yeah.
like 3 years ago, and I would go through that thinking. I'll have memories like at least a couple times a week, and then that feeling wants me to go into it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to fight it. So I was kind of just sitting there, and then I kind of realized it was a lie. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
But I didn't think like it's a lie just intellectually. It's like I caught somebody in a lie. And I'm like, whoa. And it made me think like, what else has been a lie in my life?
You know, I have to tell you, as human beings, when God said, think on these things, and not what you're going to eat, what you're going to wear, where you're going to live, what kind of work, but think on these things, life is fascinating then. Because if he wasn't thinking on the right thing, he would have noticed that, and that anger would have taken over and have been over with. Because the devil is always trying to deceive. But you have to think on the things that are good and just and right, and then life works out for you. Isn't that amazing?
And
Yes.
then I also realized that I could be in the moment and think that I'm in the moment, but I'm totally not.
Right.
Yeah, I'm
Isn't that
not at
amazing? You
all.
could be asleep and don't know it.
And you think you're in the moment, and then I'm like, whoa. It was just amazing. It's
Yeah.
crazy. And you get like a burst of energy in life
When you come
all
back.
of a sudden,
Yeah.
like this.
That's right. You better wake up, folks. Really. You're absolutely right. Life is, I was telling a friend last night that there are two ways to live. You can either live in darkness or you can live in the light. There are absolutely two ways to live. And I'm so thankful that for whatever reason, God decided to bring me into this other reality, bring me into the light, out of the darkness. I didn't know that you could live this way except that he drew me in. I didn't really, you hear about these things, but until you're drawn into the kingdom of heaven within, you're never going to know what it's like. The mind cannot conceive. There are no books or anything that can explain what it's like to return to the kingdom of heaven. There are no words. The words are just to try to witness to you about it, to tell you about it. But your mind cannot conceive what it is, so don't even try. It's like God has cut your mind off from knowing this. And I'm going to tell you in a minute why. I know why. I absolutely know why. And then once you get into that kingdom, once you return home, then you can start living because you're back home. You just start living. It's just so amazing. I wish I could give it to you. Anybody who is holding on to anger, you're preventing yourself from going home. Didn't the guy that left home, didn't he end up in a pig pen or something?
Yes.
The prodigal son guy?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Raymond. Ed.
So one of the things I've noticed is I'll remember something I did in the past. It's rarely good. It's almost always something bad that
That's
I did.
a very good point.
And I
don't know when the last time I remember anything good I did in the past.
Right. And yesterday I was thinking about that as something stupid that I did or something that, like you said, I can't believe I did that sort of thing.
Yes.
And I'm going, all right, from now on, I'm going to force myself to remember something good at the same time. Because it's easy to get down on yourself. It's easy to kind of get into that. And I don't like that about
Right.
that sort of thing.
But see, what happens is when you're reflecting, you're taking that quiet moment to kind of examine, you won't get down on yourself. You'll be humbled by it because you would see where God had brought you through.
Definitely, you end up going, oh my God, where I could have been.
Yes.
What a mess it was, and I had no idea.
But then you also have to realize, that's why we have to have the mind of God, because in that same moment, Satan is coming at the light too.
Well,
he and his little demons, and he's going to try to make you feel down about it.
Exactly.
And if you fall for the lie, you will feel down.
It's hard to tell.
I'm sorry?
It's hard to tell where the source of that is.
Well, here's the key. So I want you to know this. God, your Father, never, ever try to make you feel down. He never give you anything that bring you down. Never. It's not in his nature.
So it's better to just sit down and laugh at it and go, oh my God.
Just know it's not from God and it's not from you.
All right.
So whenever you're feeling depressed or guilty or anxiety or whatever you feel, just know it's not from God. But Satan would try to tell you, I'm God, this is from me. You know, pretending to be God. Look how awful you were.
Yeah, you're no
Look
good
at-
so-and-so. Yeah, exactly.
Look what you did. You stole the money from mama. And you'd be like, oh my God, I was so bad. I'm just awful. How could I steal from mama? You know what I'm saying? God never does that to us. He loves us. If he was going to treat us that way, he would not have sent his son and made it impossible for us to return to him. He would just let us hang out and feel guilty and die. Yes, Steve.
And I gotta say, Satan's a good liar.
That's all he is.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that was a good lie.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's amazing. It's not even like bad or anything. It's just like, he's a very good liar.
Yeah. He
So-
is the father of lies.
And this week, I've caught him in a few lies, and then that's really how I'm recognizing more the voice of God, by recognizing the lie.
That's right.
Just like how you say, if you don't hate, that's love.
Yeah.
If you just don't listen to the lie, then,
You can believe the truth.
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, anything else? Anybody? Today we're going to be talking about, Christ said that no one can get to the Father unless he go through me, through the Son. You've all heard that before, right? Yeah? Nobody heard it? Okay. It's okay. This is like a fellowship. We're here to edify one another. And it's not a test. Don't worry about what you look like. Anybody heard that before? No man can get to the Father unless he go through the Son. And how many people know how you do that? Nobody? That's amazing. Did you know before today that you didn't know how to do that? Wow, nobody. You do, Brenda? I think I do. Brenda's like this, I do. And she's like, I want to wait. Go ahead. And how?
Well, because Jesus was put on earth to take on our sins and die.
Right.
And so that's how we get to the Father, is through him, because he died for our sins. So that's what I think that means.
And how do you go through him? That is what he did. He died, he took on everything, he put everything back in order because Adam messed things up and we had no way back. He put everything back in order. We have a way back. So how do we get back?
Through prayer.
Through prayer. What kind of prayer? For those, because the rest of the people don't know. Isn't this amazing? How many Christians we have here? Everybody a Christian. Except baby Jessica's daddy. But how are you a Christian? Did you become a Christian without going back to the Father? But finish that, Brendan, and I'll talk to the Christians.
Well, You know, I was taught that through baptism, you go back to the Father.
Through baptism?
Yeah.
In the water?
Yeah.
Like being dumped in the water?
Yes.
You told that's the way back to the Father?
Yes.
Get your money back. Did you give tithe and offering to that person?
For a while, yeah.
Yeah, write them a letter and tell them you want your money back.
I wouldn't even know who they were, but okay.
No, I'm kidding. Well, good try. I mean, I understand.
But I think through prayer, through, you know, talking with the Father through Christ, then that's your way back.
Oh, okay. All right. Way in the back, you say you're a Christian, right? Yeah. Okay, so, but can you tell us how we get back to the Father? When he said, no man get to the Father, I got so much I want to tell you guys, I don't even know where to start. When you say, no man get to the Father except through the Son, how do you do that?
When I think about that, I think worshiping God and in the way He meant for us to worship Him, which means in truth and spirit. So, you know, when I'm going through trials and whatnot, I try to listen to God's spirit, which is like humble, maybe meek, honest, truth, righteous, and stuff like that.
And that work for you
Yeah, so far.
so far?
Yeah,
And that allowed you to go back to through the Son to the Father
yeah.
by you worshiping God?
Well,
You mean
know,
like when you do this? Oh, I
no,
worship
in
you.
truth and spirit, which means, you know, just being honest and listening to His spirit, you know, to what He has to say, and just test the spirit, you know, as it's talking to you and telling you what to do.
Test the Spirit as it's talking to you.
Yeah.
And then that will allow you to get back to the Father?
That will allow you to get to know Him and then get back to Him.
Can you know the Father without returning to Him? Isn't this so much fun? Now, this is like real church.
I don't think so, no.
Oh, okay. And so have you returned to the Father?
I believe so, yeah.
You're not sure?
Maybe not, but
I'm sorry?
I mean, I know the Father definitely a lot more than now, and I guess you can say I returned to Him, yeah, because, you know, I listened to
You
Him.
guess I can say that?
Yeah.
I can't say that.
No, I say me, you know,
Oh,
I guess
see.
I can say that, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know, I try to listen to Him most of the time, you know, listen to what He has to say and just test the Spirit always, you know.
All right. Appreciate that. This is not a test, so relax. Can't you tell I'm having fun? Have fun. These are the things we need to be thinking about instead of who hurt me, why they hurt me, they took my money, they don't like me, they blah, blah, blah. All right? No man can get to the Father. John 14:6 says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Do you have the Jewish Bible thing? Read me that. Find that for me and let me know what it says. Yes.
I had never considered what that meant before, but I had wondered what it meant to believe in Him, because He said you have to believe in me or something like that.
Right.
And I remember asking you what that meant. What do you mean believe in Jesus?
Right.
And I remember what you said. Can I repeat that?
Not yet.
Okay.
You always got Satan in the room ready to tell it. Let the people discover. Did you find it? Why he's looking for that? We don't have any Christians on this side of the room at all. Yes, Jeremiah.
Can I take a crack at it?
Yeah, take a crack at it.
Okay. So maybe what he's saying is that if we copy and follow the examples that Jesus kind of laid out and just love our neighbor and maybe pray and just, I don't know, copy the influence that he let out, because he's like the connection to God that we can find.
And how do you copy?
By loving your neighbors and respecting people.
And how do you love?
By not hating them. I don't know.
Can you love your neighbor without returning to the Father?
I don't think so.
So you still got to get back through the Son to the Father in order to love your neighbor, right?
Yeah.
Because believe me, neighbors don't love neighbors anymore. And these are Christian neighbors that don't love neighbors. And they mean well. It's not a put down. But they've been taught all this other stuff, and they're trying to copy and love without returning to the Father. Is that possible?
I'm not sure. Probably not.
Probably, yeah. And so, good try, man. How old are you?
15.
Good try for 15. But you should be thinking, it's not a put down, because as a young man, you should be thinking on these things. You know what I'm saying? Not about all that other junk. See, what happens is when you think on the right things, your life is going to be working out anyway. You're going to have clothes to wear, food to eat, a roof over your head. You're going to have money. You're going to have good, decent friends. Those things are going to be added while you're thinking on the right things. That makes sense, right? He promised to take care of us. And all he asks is that we think on the right things. Did you find it? Okay.
All right, so John 14:6. Thomas said, Lord, we do not know where you are going, so how can we know the way? Jesus said, I am the way, I am the truth, and the life. No one can come to the Father except through me. If you know me, you will know my Father too. From this moment you know him and have seen him.
Did that help? No. That helped you? That didn't help. Jesus said no. My heart pray that you find this. Once you return to the Father, you can hang it up and just live. You really can. And you're still going to have many challenges. Don't think challenges are going away, but it doesn't interfere at all with the peace within. You won't have the conflict. You won't have the worry. You won't have the noise. You won't have the anxiety. You can throw away your anxiety medication. You don't need to be on antidepressant pills, because the challenges on the outside would not interfere with your peace at all. Can you imagine living a life where you're dealing with stuff, but you don't feel anything about it? And I'm not talking about the false not feeling. I'm talking about perfect peace that you will have. Wouldn't that be nice, Brendan? Well, the Father made that possible already. He absolutely made it possible. There is, Irma sent me an article yesterday. It was a study that was done by a group called the Barna, B-A-R-N-A, is that right, Barna Group. And that study said that 59% of millennials who grew up in the church have dropped out at some point. 59% of millennials who grew up in the church have dropped out at some point. That's a huge number if this study is true. And millennials are, if I'm right, James, 25 to 35 or so?
Yeah, roughly. Maybe younger.
Maybe younger?
18. Yeah, 18.
Is it? 18 to 35. 59% of those who grew up in church have dropped out. And then they give these 9 reasons why and explanations, and then what the church should be doing, how the millennials want to be helped, and blah, 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 blah. Are you a millennial?
I guess.
How old are you?
25.
Oh, yeah, you are one. That's amazing you're one. Are you one, Mark? How old are you?
36.
Oh, yeah, you just passed it. So what does it feel like to be a millennial? What does that mean to you?
Nothing.
Nothing at all? You never think about it?
No.
Oh. Do you know what it is?
Kind of young people, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm old school, though.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
In my case, it was, you can't enter into the kingdom of heaven if you don't forgive. And man, we represent Christ on earth. So you got to love your earthly father. So, meaning don't resent him so you can return
You're
to the
close,
Father.
but not quite. It's so simple, you guys are going to bite your fingernails off. You'll be like, wow, why did I think of that? Why did I think of that? But that has to happen, though. You must forgive before you enter in, because as long as you have one iota of anger, you're never going to enter into the kingdom of heaven. One iota of anger will not let you in. Do you have anger, Esteban? Don't lie.
I guess a little bit, yeah.
No, not. Do you have anger? Not, I guess.
A little bit, yeah, sometimes.
And so how you went through Jesus, and how are you humble if you have anger?
Because I deal with it, you know, when I feel, you know, anger or something, when I feel like I'm inspired by anger, you know, then I go to, you know, pray and then ask the Father to show me the way out, you know, to
Yeah.
lead me.
You're 19, right?
20.
Yeah. That's good, man. Keep on living. You'll get it. Really. It's good for young people to be serious about this. Not freaking out, not overdoing it. Because young people, you give them a little chance. You know, they need their little ego for a while. So, good.
That's good.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, you were talking about millennials. I guess I was a form of a millennial a
You?
long time in my days.
How old are you?
65.
Girl,
But I was a millennial.
ain't no
I took off from
millennial.
the churches. I took off
you're
from the
like from
churches.
the old school.
It's old school,
You got
but
a
I did the
65-year-old
same.
woman talking about she a millennial.
I was raised in the church, and it just didn't seem to do much for me. So I went to another church, and
What were you
still
missing from
trying to
those
find
other
it.
churches?
I was trying to find peace. I was trying to find God, and I was not finding it. I was misled in the churches. So
Tell me this, what were you missing from those other churches? Now that you look back, what was missing?
it felt like I can't say. I guess it felt like I was missing home, and it's like when I found the meditation, it's like I found home.
So let me ask, how does one go through the Son to get to the Father?
Well,
No, let me ask, have you returned to the Father yet?
not completely.
Oh, well, you ain't found home. You're
Well, I found
halfway
home
home.
I
You're
know
like
the way.
Dorothy,
Let me
you're
put it-
almost there.
Well, I could say I know
Click
the
your
way.
heel 3 times.
I know the way. It's just.
You know the way
it's just-
home?
I think I know the way home.
And what's the way?
Being in the moment.
Well, why do you think that? But why do you think that's true?
Because when you're in the moment, you're with Christ.
But you said you have not
And
found
it's-
your way home. So
Yeah,
if
and
that's
it's-
true, why haven't you found? And again, I'm speaking loud, but I'm not yelling. It's not a test, no failing. It's food for thought. So you said that you know the way home, you found the meditation,
Yeah.
but and you said it's through Christ. Why don't you go home then?
Well, I
If
keep
that's
asking
true.
myself that too, you know.
I'm sorry?
Or I ask myself that many times, and Jesus and
what
whatever.
does self
But
say when you ask
there's just
self?
something I don't understand, but that I haven't been able to just let it go. But I want to.
So what you're saying right now doesn't make sense to you. It's not a
Yeah.
put down. I have to ask it that way
Yeah.
because life is so amazing.
Yeah, it is. And
That
there's
makes sense.
times, and there's times when I have challenges that are up against me, and they don't affect me at all. I mean, you know, I actually look forward to somebody to call me down and call me bad words, whatever, because
I don't.
I like the fact that it doesn't
Don't
hurt me.
bother me.
It doesn't bother me either.
So let me
But
ask.
there are other things that will bother me. So, you know, and I know I'm not completely clear, but I want that clarity.
Right. So what you're saying makes sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. Everything you just said makes sense.
Yeah.
This is why I said, like we're something else that human beings are. So let me ask, let me get some witnesses just to see am I wrong here. Judy, does it make sense what she just said?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Yeah.
So it makes sense that she knows how to find the Father. She knows how to get back home. She found this great meditation, but she won't go home.
Yeah, that part. I think that's kind of interesting because that's kind of like how I look at it for myself, personally speaking. I know myself the way home just is,
What's the way?
very similar.
When Jesus said, "No man get to the Father except through me," how do you do that?
And that's a great question, and I think I've wondered about
You
that.
have not returned through the Son to the Father yet,
Not quite.
and,
no.
and why not?
Because I'm just that's a good question. The thing is, I realize that from my personal life, I'm just being lured by another side, and I'm not staying in the moment, and I have to know. I know that.
What do you mean stand in the moment?
Well, being in, so if you're, for me, lots of times I'm sort of stuck in the past of something that, I just can't get over, and it's in the past, and it's not in my presence.
And so as you are speaking right now, it makes sense what you're saying?
What I'm saying?
We're just sitting by the hillside in front of the
Yeah.
creek. The water's running down, and we were talking. All right, we were fellowshipping one to another. So what you're saying, does it make sense?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Honestly, I'm just saying that.
Don't let me make you doubt yourself when
Yeah.
I ask that question. Either
Yeah.
we're fellowshipping. That's all.
Yeah. I just know that I have to get back to home, and that sometimes I find that I'm right with it, and there's other times where I find that I'm so far away.
Sometimes you're right
So-
with what?
Right with with being objective in the moment. Not
How do you know that?
in the moment, you kind of you're here in the moment. You're here and now, in the now, and that's where everything is. That's where I know that I need to be. I just personally have a little trouble with at times realizing that, because I have issues of maybe planning for something to come up and things like that. And so I just, I know that I've asked myself many times about that question, about how do we get through to God through Jesus? And that is really a great question. And I've
That's why I asked you the question,
Yeah,
because you
yeah.
hear these things all
Yeah.
your life, and you assume that you know, and then someone says, "How do you get back to the Father through the Son? What is he talking about?" And now we're rambling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got to worship the Lord. We got to pray. We got to go to church. And then the person walk away never understanding.
Yeah. I've asked that question because I really, one day I just wondered about that. And it's like, I just think that it's the part where he says, if you know me, you know my Father.
Yes.
And that part seems to have a real good, large
It's
significant.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's like, I know that it's the same thing in a family member. If you kind of know me, you know my Father, because we're very much alike.
Yeah.
And so I think that
Esteban
You
looked just
watch
like
his
his
ways.
father. When I see him, I see his father. And asked him, did he think that he was his father? Are you your father? He like, no, but yeah, he believed Jesus God. Sorry, Esteban. Okay. How does one go through the Son to get to the Father?
You've been giving us the clue to that as you've been speaking to us. Like 3 times or 4 times you've already given us the clue, and that is relax when you're wrong and you've been shown to be wrong. Relax through pain. Relax under the pressure of being questioned. Take it easy, relax, and the truth will be given to you, and then that truth will bring you back to the Father.
And does that make sense, what you just said?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I have not been able to do that for most of my life.
All right. Are you able to tell us how to get through the Son to the Father?
Probably not that qualified to say that.
Qualified? Why not?
Well, let's just say I'm not an expert in these affairs.
None of us are. If you can see, are we lame? Is that what you call us? We're all idiots. So are you a Christian?
Hard to say. I mean, I basically was went to a Catholic school and went to Catholic high school. I mean, but my parents never got me involved in terms of formal baptism and everything like that. But you know, obviously, there's a lot of things that I believe in that are aligned, you know, with Christianity. But there's also other things as well that are outside the scope of traditional Christianity that I believe in as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But being a Catholic is being a Christian, right?
Well, I'm not Catholic though. I just went to a Catholic
you just
school.
went to the school.
Yeah, so I mean, I was educated.
Right.
Okay, I mean.
Oh, I got you.
You know what I'm
You
saying?
were educated through the Catholic school.
Yeah, I mean,
but
I was
you didn't
educated in
become a
Catholic school, and so yeah, I mean, they had you know, mass every day, and you know, or every other day, and then they had, you know, Bible study classes and, you know, religious study classes,
Right.
or whatever. Okay. So in terms of being able to say as an identity, you know, am I a Christian? That's an identity issue. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know where I'm at right now with that, to be perfectly
This
honest.
your first time here?
Yes.
How did you hear about us?
Through some of your interviews.
I was at the gym the other day, and this, you know, I can't tell if I'm talking to a median or a Ram person or a G kind of. Where are you from, G? Brazilian or Hispanic. They all look the same to me. So I'm not sure what this guy was. But, and he and a white guy and myself were standing there talking, right? And it was the same day that Donald Trump held a press conference. You know, Donald Trump held a press conference, and he got a switch off the tree and just whooped everybody with it. And so this guy that I don't know what he is, he said to me, I'm a fiscal conservative. I have no idea what that means. But I think it means they leave the moral aspect out. Isn't that right? Yeah. They're about the money. And he said, and I vote that way and everything, but I don't like what Donald Trump is doing. I don't like what he's doing. And I asked, so what is it that he's doing that you don't like? I don't like the fact that he's sending immigrants back home. And I said, why don't you like that? And he said, because his wife came here illegally. And then, so I didn't know if that was true or not. And I said, really? I didn't know that. I said, so you're saying that Donald Trump's wife came into this country illegally. And then he switched it up and said, well, no, she had a work permit or something, whatever she had to get here. And then I said, well, Donald Trump is talking about people who are coming here illegally across the borders and just coming in like that. And he said, well, she had whatever she had, right? And I said, oh, that's fake news. I said, you lied. You just gave fake news. And the white guy got mad at me. He's like, don't talk to Jesse about that because he's a radio host. You would never be able to beat him in a conversation. And they both turned like really red. And I just walked away and I could hear them talking about me. But he lied. That woman didn't come here illegally. I don't know why I brought that up. But anyway, in this one thing that this person said in this study, he said to the churches, I mean, he said a whole bunch of things that millennials need, right? But he said to the churches, what you need to realize is that most millennials are growing up without fathers in their homes. He said, so we need a father. But they don't have fathers. And that's why they need the churches to be more active in their lives, because they don't have a father. And that's the whole key to this thing. They're growing up without father. All the other stuff that they wrote and named up, nice little stuff that can do it, I can see how it may help. But unless you return to the Father, nothing is going to help you. You will never have peace. You will never know know God until you return through the Son to the Father. Ain't nothing else going to work. What you're missing in life is your Father. that little way down in there, that little void, that little emptiness, that little thing that keeps you angry, that keep you confused, and all that is a need to return to the Father. And it's a waste of time to be thinking, because Satan will tell you that it's this, you need this, you need that, you need this, you need that, you need this. And so I was counseling with a woman, and she kept saying, I need to do this with my mother, because I said, no. I said, it's your anger. You need to return to the Father. She's like, yeah, that makes sense. And then Satan would tell her something else. I'm like, no, you need to turn to your Father. Drop the anger. But that's what's missing. Until you return to the Father, here's what your mindset would be. John 8:43-45, you can read it later. Why do you not understand what I'm saying? It is because you cannot hear my word. You are of your father, the devil. Until you return to your Father, you are of your father, the devil. You may be nice, you may be helpful, and there are some nice, helpful people. You know, like the rotten of the rotten kind of thing. Until this happens. But you cannot hear my word. You're of your father, the devil. And you want to do the desires of your father, which is the devil. He was a murderer from the beginning and does not stand in the truth, because there is no truth in him. There is no truth in your father, the devil. Telling a Christian who has not returned to the Father that they are of their father, the devil, is like telling a man that he is a woman. The last thing a man wants to hear is that he's a woman. And the last thing, whenever he speaks a lie, he speaks from his own nature. For he is a liar, and this is what Jesus was saying, he is a liar and the father of lies. But because I speak the truth, you do not believe me. Because I speak the truth, you do not believe me. Until you return to the Father, your mindset is of the devil. Because there is no gray. I was talking to a friend last night. He believed there's a gray area. It's either of God or of the devil. You're either of your father, God, or you're either of your father, the devil. There is no gray area. The way that you return to the Father through the Son is that you have to believe him. That's all. You have to believe the Son. When you believe in the Son, you believe in the Father. Because the Father and the Son are one. It's the Father who has made a home inside the Son, and it's the Father who is speaking through the Son. So when you believe the Son, you believe the Father, and that's how you get back home. Just that simple. And the way you believe the Son, you have to doubt your father, the devil. Everything that he tells you, no matter how sweet it seems, how nice it seems, if you're confused about it, if it's not working, you've not found it. That's why I was asking some of the people, does that make sense to you? If it's not, just think about it. God created you, so if you have returned to him, it's going to work. It's working. If it's not working, that means you have not returned. So stop listening to your father, the devil. He is deceiving you. He is playing God. There's no such thing as being halfway home. You know what I mean? You're either there or you're not. And there is no such thing as being in the moment. Cut that out. When children hear parents say, I'm in the moment, you're driving them crazy. You're causing them to become millennials. They want to leave the church because you're not living it. Live it is what speaks better than halfway home. That's the devil telling you that. You're either home or you're not. So when you can doubt everything that passes through your mind, everything, then you'll be home. Adam doubted the truth and believed the lie and fell away from the Father. Now we have to doubt the lie, believe the truth, and return to the Father. Just that simple. What do you think about that, Brenda? The only way we fell away because Adam doubted. Adam, before that, believed in the Father. There was no doubt. Then he believed a lie, and he doubted the Father. And Satan became his father. He developed Satan mindset because he believed his father, the devil. Christ came and put it all back, so now we believe in this son that he sent. We believe back into the Father. Yes.
I think it's beautifully simple.
Yes. This is so simple, huh? But we've been taught all this other stuff, and Satan is using that against us, and so we always believe lies rather than truth. Isn't that like simple, huh? How many people see it, how simple it is? Do you see it as simple, Miller? Yeah. How about you, Kelly? Yeah. It's so simple, huh? But yet, Satan has you got to think of all this other stuff. Oh, you need to take the pain. You're giving us hints. You know, and I'm saying that because that's Satan telling you that. Whatever he's telling you, I don't care if it's about the Bible, about what you have learned, about whatever, or something that happened in the past, don't believe it. Because Satan made a promise that he's going to come as the light. He's going to imitate and do everything that God does. But he's a liar. There's no truth in him in what he's doing. So whatever thought you get, I don't care if it's something that happened in the past or the so-called future, let it go. Don't remember the scriptures. Satan will use that against you too. Just doubt everything that comes through your mind, and you shall know the truth. I think that human beings are fascinating in that you just never know what a human being would do. It just is mind-blowing what we as human beings can do, and you just never know. And to me, that's fascinating in that what causes human beings, we can sink so low and do things that we never imagined that we would do, or we could do crazy things along the way and not know that they're crazy. We could say crazy things and not know that they're crazy. Isn't that like mind-blowing? We can be mean to one another. I read some of the comments on YouTube about our TV show or whatever, and the folks that don't like me, they say some of the nastiest, meanest things that, you know, and you wouldn't think that a human being would be that dirty and cold, because like we are human beings, you know. We're not like animals. I believe there are some animals out there that treat one another better than human beings treat one another, some human beings. And I noticed that the people who are criticizing, they never offer any suggestions that are good. They don't say you're wrong, here is the right way, or the way I think is right, maybe this can help you, right? All they do is attack with nothing. And I'm thinking, how can you be a human being and be that way? Another thing I think is interesting about human beings in some cases, it has to be extreme. You can not like one another and don't speak during the week, and then you can have a party and everybody show up at the party. And everybody partying, have a good time, and get drunk and get down, right? But then Monday, you're not even speaking anymore. Isn't that like amazing? Or it's just human beings are something else. I think I'm so fascinated by human beings nowadays. Second to seeking the Father His right way. A person can like you right now and you say something to them that they don't like, they change just like that on you. Isn't that amazing? And then how we can dress up and act like everything's fine, but it's not really fine. Isn't that amazing, G? Yep. It's just so amazing to me. Just think in your own life, as I've always think about my life, some of the things I've done over my past life, it's amazing that I did some of those things. It doesn't make sense. It just, what was I, And how come I didn't know it was wrong enough not to do it? Yes, sir.
I think what it is, at least from my perspective, when I'm insulted or, someone comes against me for whatever reason, then it's time for war. And when the war is over, then we start thinking of, rebuilding a relationship or peace or whatever. But it's like you get into a war mentality because you become very defensive. They're attacking you, so you attack back. And relationships are kind of like that, I believe.
But still, I see things that when you're not, I see human beings doing certain things when they're not even at war. The things they say and the way they think and all that. And we're like created in the image of God. We have His image. We have His nature. And the last time I looked, He's pretty bright. And so I'm wondering, why aren't we as bright as He is?
Some people, and I've been there, have, they have a, like, how the police, they can be nice and then 1 minute and then go after the criminal with, the type of aggressiveness you want to go after them. But after a while, if you've been in a war zone for a while, you become hardened. You don't really have a center of love, so you become hardened. And I think there's certain people who've been under assault and who've been assaulting back and forth at war, so to speak, continually throughout their lives, and so they're more hardened.
Interesting. I'm loving it, though. I don't mind what I see, in observing human nature. I don't mind what I see. I just think it's so fascinating. I got a call from someone who was sitting and this is a grown adult. And this person liked me a lot, and I like them a lot, so it's not a negative. It just is amazing. They sitting in a cafe in another state, and they are sitting there with a bunch of friends, and apparently somebody sitting in the cafe at another table, and they all sitting at this table and say, "Oh, that looked like Jesse. That person looked like Jesse." And the person said, "Oh, let me get Jesse on the phone so he can talk to this stranger and say, you look like me." I'm like, wow, that's so fascinating. I would never think to do that. I would never think to be sitting in a cafe and I see somebody that look like Mark. I don't know the person, never heard of the person, but I'm going to call California and get Mark on the phone so Mark can talk to the stranger. Isn't that like fascinating? That's amazing to me. And this person doesn't mean any harm. They like me, all that. And I like them, and they're good people. But I'm thinking, wow, it's amazing that the mind can work that way. Don't you think that's amazing, Brenda? Would you ever think to call Ed, you're sitting out there with your girlfriend at a cafe in New Orleans, Ed is in California, a white man sitting over there looking like Ed, call me back, I want you to talk to this stranger so I can tell him you look like him.
No, I would never do that. I might take a picture and show it to Ed and say, hey, this guy looked like you, but I wouldn't think Ed would want to talk to him.
I would never even think to do that. What would I say to the stranger on the phone? Hey, I hear you look like me. But that kind of stuff is exciting, don't you think?
I've heard when you began the process of meditation, that a lot of your past memories will come to review, and that you review them with a different light because you're changing and you're now looking to be still, and you look at some of the things that you've done, and now you look at them from a different perspective. You let's say, for example, me, you are a little bit like saddened. Hey, I remember I said these things or acted this